Hello, we have Kenny Braasch on the podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today.
What up?
What up? I'm so excited to have you on. I know we have a ton of Bachelor fans, Bachelor in Paradise fans, and just fans of you and Mari. So I'm sure people are very excited about this episode. So thank you so much for coming on and chatting with me.
Yes, thanks for inviting me out.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. So I have just like some random rapid fire questions that are like all over the place just before we jump in. So I guess this actually is a little bit related. What was your favorite meal in Paradise?
Well, they had the shrimp was really good.
The shrimp. Okay.
Yeah, they had really good shrimp at our little restaurant spot.
All right. Did you guys just like get to pick whatever you wanted? Like you just had like endless options, or was it limited?
I mean, you could kind of tell them like, hey, I want like shrimp, rice, vegetables. They would kind of just make whatever sort of if they had it, like whatever they had. But
yeah,
it was the eating in Paradise was pretty good actually.
Oh, good. Was it better than like at the house, like with doing?
Oh yeah. Oh, way better. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Way better.
Do you have any hidden talents that people don't know about?
I don't think so. I mean, I used to, just like most of the guys, was an athlete back in the day. I used to be able to dunk a basketball.
You can't dunk a basketball anymore.
Well, I did. We all met up in New York. I don't know, maybe right before Paradise-ish, and we were at, I think it was Pilot Pete's and Dustin's like apartment, and there's a basketball court, and there was a bunch of us who played, and I dunked. We were kind of just dicking around, and I did get one down, and Riley filmed it, and he still hasn't given it to me. So there is footage of this.
It's out there somewhere.
Yeah, it's in Riley's apartment right now on his camera.
Okay, and if there was any place that you could move right now in the world, where would you choose?
I'm pretty good with Chicago, to be honest. I do enjoy New York and LA for a couple days at a time or whatnot, but like I'm cool here,
Yeah, you're content. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. So I want to get to know how you, I guess, got on the show, because I think there are a lot of different ways now, especially with like social media, that people just kind of get like pulled from like Instagram, or your friends can nominate you. How did you end up in Bachelor Nation? What happened?
So when Claire's season got shut down at one point, and then I believe they recasted some of the guys during COVID before they actually started up again. I don't know if you remember that or not, but
yeah.
I guess they were sort of ended up looking for some older guys to fill some of the spots, and I got hit up randomly, and kind of that's just where it came about.
They slid in the DMs. Is that what it was?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it was very random. I didn't apply or anything like that. No.
Were you familiar with the show at all? Had you watched? Did you just like know of it, or were you just kind of going in like blind?
I mean, no, I knew the show. Like I remembered like the first season with I think Trista, right? And Ryan, like way back. Like
wow.
I remember when it first started. I'm old. Like that was like so that, I remember all those early seasons, and I didn't watch. I mean, I seen it in the beginning. I never seen Paradise before. I never seen any Paradise stuff until I watched my own season. I mean, semi-familiar, but not like where I knew a lot of the current faces from the past like few years, cast-wise.
So your season was weird, obviously, with COVID and having like the halt and it being kind of delayed, but also you had two women, two Bachelorettes. So Claire was obviously the first Bachelorette, the initial Bachelorette, and then she had this like instant connection with Dale, and that kind of started a bunch of issues with everybody else, because there's still like 20-30 people there. Did you ever like catch on that like that was happening, or were you just kind of doing your own thing and like you guys were all shocked? Like, what was the actual reaction for you guys in the house?
I mean, it was pretty, I think a lot of the guys felt pretty quickly like there was something going on, something strange.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know I was a little more vocal about it. I know than most people. I still believe most of the guys felt the same way I did. I just
Said
was
it.
the one saying stuff. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty clear something was up.
Yeah.
Pretty quick.
So yeah, very fast.
Yeah.
So I guess were you close with Dale? Were the guys close with Dale? Because I know there's like a camaraderie within the house. Was he a part of that, or was it just like awkward because he was that like obvious front runner? And was it weird, or what was the vibe with like everyone in Dale? Because on camera or on the show, it doesn't seem like, or at least it didn't seem like everyone was like a big fan.
You know what, Dale was like, he was a good guy. Like you know, it's not like he was like an outsider and like stayed away from everybody. Like he's very personable, and you know, I'm sure when you're pulled in an interview and you're saying stuff, you might be saying something versus how everyone's really acting when everybody's together. But you know, at the end of the day, it wasn't really Dale's fault, or it was nobody's fault. It was just, you know, but I mean, I'm still cool with Dale. Like we cross paths once in a while. We talk on Instagram once in a while. Like, you know, especially now, like a year later, like nobody cares. You know, it's
we're
just,
all over it.
yeah. I mean, there's no like outstanding beef from that season with him. I don't think with anybody.
Are you guys still close? Everyone else in the house, like you guys keep up with each other? You said you went to New York and stuff. It's like, everyone's still tight.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of, you know, in the beginning, everybody's trying to meet up all the time, and it sort of dies off over time. But I still talk to a lot of the guys. You know, maybe not so much of like getting together as much as we were doing, or you know, trying to meet up and stuff. But we still, you know, I still talk to people all the time. You know, just especially with Instagram, you're always, you know, commenting and talking back to each other on there and stuff like that. But
yeah, well, it's just interesting because it's obviously like a very different experience. Like not everyone is going on the Bachelorette and having this like cameras in their face and this like, you know, their life on TV. So it's got to bring you guys like a little close. I was curious like what you felt about having cameras in your face, and like were you constantly like thinking about how you looked or what you were saying, or did it eventually just kind of like, you know, you didn't really think about it? How was that adjustment?
The camera stuff, you almost don't really notice it. They do a good job of not making it feel like it's right in your face.
Yeah.
So I particularly didn't. I just sort of over the top to be myself and said whatever I was going to say. Maybe not exactly what I would say behind with no cameras on, but like for the most part, you know, I would say plenty of guys are, you know, not saying or not being how they normally are.
Yeah.
On the show, obviously, and you could pick up on that throughout all the seasons, but if you're there for a while, at some point you almost do not realize everything's being filmed, but you know it is, but you obviously you see
it.
you know, you see guys saying crazy shit and doing crazy things, and they know that they're being filmed, so eventually you somehow just like don't realize what you know what's going on around you. So
so strange. So what was like something from just being on like The Bachelorette that surprised you? Like something that you weren't expecting to happen, or something as far as like cameras or anything like that? Like something that just surprised you with being on the show, or even like post show, like something that surprised you?
Being there and not really knowing how the whole thing worked, and trying to just, you know, step out of the limo and then it starts and I literally have no idea what's going on. The long nights, I did not know going in. Like I didn't know how it was going to be like that. Like the days are very long, and there's not a whole lot of sleep. And
with the rose ceremonies, I'm so like, even watching this season with Michelle's season, it's like it happens every like first episode where you see, obviously they show up out of the limo and it's nighttime, and then by the time they go home or they get their rose, like the sun's out again. And like I don't think people really understand that it's really all night. That's crazy. There becomes
like for me, that's like, it bleeds into like 4 or 5, 6 a.m. And if you might have your conversation with the girl like on the tail end of the night, like you're out of your mind at that point. Like I remember being like, I don't give a fuck if I go home right now because I just want to go to sleep. Like it gets to that point. It's almost like that's kind of crazy. And you sort of do get used to it, or at least after the first rose ceremony, you kind of at least mentally can prepare for that about to happen. But that first one, nobody was like, hey, this is going to go to like 10 a.m. the next day. Like, you don't know. I didn't know that.
No heads
like,
up. Oh my God.
Yeah. And it's like, I can't have a meaningful conversation with this girl at 5 o'clock in the morning after I've been up for like 24 hours.
Yeah. Oh my God. So it makes sense when people start going crazy and it's night one and you're like, these people are nuts. It's like, no. They're tired. They're gonna go to bed.
They are tired. And the leads, it's even crazier because they have to like
be on, really on. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole time. It's kind of wild.
That's nuts. Do you feel like there was a benefit of going into the show not knowing enough, like not knowing so much about it, than like going on and being like, oh, I know that this is going to happen and this is what group dates are, and having like a big understanding of it? Do you feel like you benefited from not knowing as much?
I think the main thing that I've learned out of all these both shows is, in my opinion, you're better off not having any plan going in. So, I mean, you know what I mean? So I, by default, the first time for Bachelorette, I had no plan, obviously, because I didn't know what was going on. But going into like Paradise, at that point, you know, everything works, you know what's going on. But still, it just doesn't seem beneficial to have some kind of plan, because it just never seems to work out if you have that.
And I feel like when you have a plan, that's exactly when it's not going to go right. And it'll play out completely differently on the show. When did you decide you wanted to go to Paradise? When did you get the call? Were you always open to going on Paradise? What were your thoughts there?
Yeah, I was open. I mean, people started asking that right after exiting Bachelorette, because that was when they were like bringing Paradise back, and it hadn't happened for like a year because they got canceled, the one during COVID. But I was always up for it because, I got cut short on, with Tayshia's season, or Claire, I kind of left, I didn't expect to leave that night, the night I left. And there was kind of like a bunch of bullshit going on. And then I ended up leaving, and it was just like, and you don't get to like finish off like, hey, there was like a couple fights I wanted to finish with some people. I didn't get to finish. I had
some beef.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to go home. You don't see anybody anymore. But no, Paradise. Like I was like, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, I was still single, and there was no reason not to do it.
So I guess going into Paradise, did you have anyone in mind, or like just were you aware of anyone ahead of time before going in from Bachelor Nation, like hoping they'd be there?
I mean, you kind of know that was going to be like Matt James girls, and then possibly Peter's girls. So that was kind of like the pool that you're, however you want to call it. And so, I mean, we did have an idea of who might be there, but you don't really know, obviously, exactly for sure who until they actually walk out on the beach, to be honest.
So I feel like we have to address you walking onto the beach. America like sees the black box. You're like, who's the host that you walked? Was it
It was Spade when I walked out.
Yeah, David Spade. And you're like, you're naked. Obviously you're not naked, but like that was the whole gig, and you show up and everyone's freaking out. Was that like something that you wanted to do, or like how did that like play out?
I mean, the whole thing actually was just the play off of Claire's season, because we did the naked dodgeball, and it was almost like a joke on that season that I was like, every time I did a group date, I ended up like naked for the most part. So it was kind of like, it was sort of just playing off that.
Bring it back. Yep.
Yeah, and then I was just like, I mean, they know, like, I'm usually up for anything. Like I'll do whatever. So it was just kind of that. And though I was naked at different points in time throughout Paradise. Like it wasn't there was actually, it wasn't all just
yeah. A fake black box.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on like the celebrity host? Did you know that was going to be David Spade walking in, or did like you have a heads up, or were you like nervous? Like that's pretty cool.
We didn't really know, to be honest, because they kind of want that. They want the surprise factor.
Yeah.
They want to see that. So, I loved every bit of it. I mean, I love Spade. To me, is a huge deal.
Yes.
And obviously Lance was there, tie into the boy band stuff, and I thought Little John. Possibly, I thought he was probably the best host, to be honest. I thought he did a great job.
Yeah. And his voiceovers were just like,
that was the best part.
It was the best part.
He should voice over all the seasons.
Absolutely.
No matter what.
Bring him back for sure. So we have to obviously talk about Mari. So I feel like right off the bat, you guys hit it off and you like just seemed to like really, really click. What was that relationship, that first conversation like for you? What were your thoughts going into it and like initially about her?
Well, she was one of the girls. She was probably the main girl that I wanted to meet off of Matt's season. And I was sort of waiting for her to show up. Luckily, she came on the first day.
Yeah.
Which was nice. And I mean, we did hit it off right away. I was all about it pretty fast, obviously. And she was too, but I know that she also wanted, she still wanted to do Paradise and do all that too. So I was kind of probably coming on too strong in the beginning, very early, being like, I don't want to talk to nobody else like first night, so I'm sure it scared her, probably scared the shit out of her, me saying stuff like that, but it still worked out.
Yeah. So I guess kind of going off of that, like you guys obviously had the conversation where she was like, I kind of want to, like, I don't want to hold you back from things and I don't want to be really held back from things. And did you feel like she was just like playing it cool, or were you like, I mean, obviously it was like upsetting to hear and stuff because you were so like, into her and she was into you. Did it really throw you off? Because that eventually led you to Demi and exploring other connections. So what was your like initial thought when she brought that up?
Well, we did have conversations that probably weren't even on.
Sure.
That you didn't see about like being very open and communicate about like if we want to go on a date with somebody, blah blah blah. It's just such a weird.
Yeah.
His Paradise is
not a normal situation to be in.
That's what I'm saying. It's just like, yeah, I was hurt, disappointed, whatever you want. But it's like, I actually, in that dynamic, you can't be. So I just sort of was like, that's fine. And then, I'll go do the same thing that you are saying. So right. Yeah, in real life, that wouldn't have made a whole lot of sense, but I mean, it's just like, I can't sit there and demand that she doesn't talk to nobody or do, like, you have to just be like, everybody do whatever you want.
Yeah. It's the name of the game. It's just, it's how it works, I guess. Your relationship with Demi, you guys are both very like fun people. And I feel like that was like a cool, like relationship to watch. What was that like, I guess for you going like from Mari to Demi and that sort of thing?
It's exactly what you just said. It was fun. We ended up, she's like a comedian, honestly, in real life. Like I always said, she can do stand-up comedy and probably do well because she's
an entertainer too. Like,
she's very funny. And to be honest, like everything's so serious in Paradise, and it was like sort of like a little bit of like we ended up hanging out at the time. It was sort of me, Demi, and Brendan, Natasha were all kind of hanging out and just having fun and not even kind of worrying about anything for like a day or day and a half. And it was kind of fun because it was just, there was no serious talks, and it was just kind of
Like a nice break from everything. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really all it was. And we were just, you know, I don't know. It was a whole different thing, you know.
Yeah. So, I guess eventually you kind of like wound back up with Mari. You guys had a serious conversation that you guys like both wanted to be together. And I think America was like rooting for that and just like really happy for the two of you. And you guys continued your relationship. So how was the rest of Paradise for you and like working on your relationship with Mari and all of that?
It was, I mean, the nice thing, it was great. Like once we were like both on the same page, and once you don't have to like worry about, okay, is she gonna want to go on a date with this guy? Is she gonna, you know, like when it becomes like the two people don't want to talk to nobody else and they just want to focus on something. And that's where we were. So that, you know, the tail end of Paradise was really just us, you know, hanging out and just being together. And it's just, and in Paradise there is a lot of time, so it's like you're spending a lot of quality time with no distractions, because when it's just the two of you, you're not off trying to talk to everybody and do all this. You're actually just spending all that time together. So you know, it was nice.
What was your favorite, I guess, part of Paradise? I guess that you kind of just answered it there, of just like having the actual quality time compared to the Bachelorette where you have like minutes talking to the lead. Was that just nice to just like sit back and like actually have conversation and spend time? Are there other parts of Paradise that like we wouldn't know that are just like fun and you guys always looked forward to doing? Or
I mean, it still is not like, it's still nonstop. So I think that like the best, that what everybody looked forward to probably was being able to go to bed when they would release you to go to sleep for the night. It was probably everybody behind the scenes favorite moment for everybody, I would guess.
Is sleeping. I love it. I love it. You ended up proposing. When did you kind of think to yourself like, okay, I'm gonna like propose at the end of this? Was it like days before? Was it like as soon as you guys kind of got back together? Where was your mind on that?
Kind of when we got back together, I thought it could happen. Like I was preparing myself to like, that could be the, like how we're gonna end this thing, to be honest. Because you know, even though we did separate, obviously I still you know, we still had, there was still something there the whole time. I think the break and then getting back together kind of like escalated everything. When we got back together, it just felt like, okay, you know, it's time to get we could get serious here. And I mean, it was definitely not last minute. Like it was sort of in my mind once we got back together for the last couple of weeks there.
Yeah. So I feel like a proposal in general is so nerve-wracking, and the fact that you have to do it on camera makes me sick. Like I just could not, I wouldn't know. What was that like? Were you freaking out? Like I know in the proposal you were like, I'm shaking. Like I would probably be shaking too. Were you like, what was running through your mind? Were you freaking out or are you just excited to just do it?
I mean, it's all that stuff. Like you are nervous because every word that comes out of your mouth is going to be dissected pretty much and, you know, used against you or, you know, whatever. So it's, you know, you want to say the right things and, but you also want to speak, you know, I wanted to just, you know, speak, but I'm not the greatest, I'm not a good, like speaker. Like sometimes it takes me a second or two to get words out and I kind of stumble a lot. So, you know, it was like, you know, to prepare, it was more of just some bullet points and, you know, just have an idea of what you're going to say. And, but I'm known for like rambling on. I've done 3 best man speeches that have rambled on for like 15-20 minutes. So
like, all right.
I'll just, I mean, I don't know how to like end it. I just keep saying shit. But I mean, I think it ended up pretty good. Like, you know, she's way more well-spoken than I am. Like she's, you know, it's just.
And she felt like, to me, like when I watched it, she just looked so calm. And I would not be, and she was just very well-spoken and calm. And then you're like, okay, it's my turn. And I have to say, so like, I don't know if it's something that like the Bachelor Nation just does in general or has to do, but in the proposal speeches, there's always that point where like as a viewer, you're like, oh, they're not gonna do it. And then you have a little baby freak out, and yours was like that. And I was like, no, no, no. And then you're like, and I love whatever you said. And it was so perfect and sweet and stuff. And you're like, like you just take the deep breath again. Like, was that intentional? Why do you guys do that to us? It's terrifying.
So nobody told me to do that. I wanted to do it just to fuck with her anyway. So
did it work? Did she say like,
she did.
Yeah.
I paused for so long in real time. They had to chop it because
oh my God.
I like went silent for like 30 seconds and just like looked down and didn't say anything. And
that
like,
is so sweet.
yeah, in real time, it was bad. Yeah. I dragged it out. God. Yeah.
Even the small little pause that we saw as like viewers, it was like, oh my God, poor Mari. Yeah. That's so terrifying. Well, it was I think you said all the right things, and it was really sweet, and everyone is so happy for you guys. So congrats again on the engagement. What did your family and friends say when you guys got back? Like, obviously, like Paradise is such a crazy experience and not everyone really fully understands like what it is. So what did like everyone say afterwards? Were they happy for you? Shocked?
Yeah, I mean, well, my parents found out. I asked if they want to know what happened. They didn't want to know at first. They wanted to watch it. And then
because you're in hiding, right? You have to be kind of low key.
Yeah.
Okay. So even from your family, you weren't telling anyone.
Well, when I got home, when you get your phone back and you start talking to everybody, they didn't want to know. But then pretty short after, there was some spoilers that started coming out. My brother was like sending shit to my mom and dad. So finally I just had to tell them what was going on. Well, because they were then they wanted to know because they're like, whatever. So, but my parents, they were shocked. Absolutely. But, in a good way. Like, they were all for it. They have and they met her pretty soon after we got home.
Oh, nice. Okay. So you're in Chicago and she lives in, is it Maryland?
She's in Maryland. Yeah.
Okay. So are you guys looking to like move to Chicago? What's like the plan now? Are you guys living together currently? How are things going now?
She's going to move here. She's going to move to Chicago in like the spring when her lease is up. And I'm like downtown in the Loop here, and we're going to stay probably in the building I'm in and just get like I'm in a studio. It's a small place. So we'll probably just get a 1-bedroom here and then go from there, see what happens after that.
Yeah. So I guess like the big question too is like, because this process is so fast and like rushed almost, are you guys just now like just focused on like your relationship and dating, or is there talk of like a wedding date? How are you guys kind of playing?
We're not talking about a date yet. It's more so live together first.
Yeah.
Is the first. So we'll do, get that situated. Although she does spend a lot of time in Chicago already. And I've been out to Maryland twice, but she comes here way more than I've been out there. So, I mean, we have spent like stretches living together, 10 days at a time here and there. So we've got a little taste of it.
Yeah.
But, that's the first step. And then, we were thinking maybe 2023, we would look at a date. Maybe I think we are going to do the wedding in Puerto Rico.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, so that's as far as we've talked wedding wise, is that we would do it there, because she's obviously, her family's in Puerto Rico.
Yeah. And David Spade can officiate and it'll be great.
Oh, I would love that. I would love that.
That would be so cool. Just final thoughts, like on your experience, like with your experience on the show and doing Paradise and meeting Mari, like what are your biggest like takeaways, and are you happy? I mean, I'm sure you're happy that you like got on the show and met her, but what are your kind of like, I guess, final thoughts on everything?
My final thoughts is just, the whole thing is just kind of blows my mind from mid 2020 to, what are we at? The end of 21, like everything changed. so dramatically for me that it's
Yeah.
insane. And it's all because of the show. So it's like, I mean, I really do. I love all the people involved in the show, like the producer side of things and everybody behind the scenes and everything. So it's just, I've had nothing but a great experience with everything over there,
Yeah.
obviously. And, you know, and we're, you know, it's kind of wild just in general. I just,
It's crazy.
to
No, it
think
really
about
is,
it.
because that's so fast to think about that you were just on Bachelorette in 2020, and it's like you're engaged and you're here, and it was like a TV show of all things. Like it really is crazy, but that's awesome. Are you still kind of doing the work that you did before you went on the show? And what's like, how is,
Yeah.
I guess, life changed for you? Is it all still the same? How's that going?
I book a music venue in Chicago called 115 Bourbon Street. I've been there since '04, so I've been there for a very long time. So I'm still doing that, but I do it kind of remotely for the most part, and then I'm there once in a while. And then I have I have the boy band and a bunch of other bands that we put together that we manage and book and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
it's all kind of the same, same for that. Obviously, live music and the bar industry is still making its way back right now. It's not,
Hmm.
it's not fully recovered yet, but it's starting to. We are playing shows now and obviously and doing stuff, but
Yeah.
so nothing's really changed on that front. Except for like I just sometimes when I'm at the bar or at the shows, it could
They
get a
know who
little
you
crazy.
are.
Yeah, I mean, if me and Mari, I had a bunch of people at the bar a couple weeks ago, and it's fun though. You just
Yeah.
take pictures of everybody. It's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I think everyone's just in love with you guys, and we're so happy for you guys. So excited to see like what the future holds for you too. And yeah, hopefully you'll get David Spade. I don't know. That would be pretty cool.
It's actually a great idea that you. I am gonna
Thank
look into
you.
this.
Thank you.
Either him
I
or
mean, if you can thank me with an invite if you want. I'm just kidding.
yeah, him or Little John. I'm gonna see.
Oh my God, that would be that would be awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It was so great talking to you. Yeah, wish you guys the best. Congrats on the engagement, and say hi to Mari for me.
I will. Thank you for
Awesome.
having me.
Yeah, absolutely.